the new video about the LTI aptitude questions, right? A lot of people were requesting about the same a video on the LTI aptitude questions, and here's the same, right? What are we gonna see in this particular video? So we'll talk a bit about the syllabus of the LTI, and then we'll see the type and the difficulty of the questions. We'll solve a lot of aptitude question asked in the LTI exam, and then we also have a special giveaway round with this particular video, right? So let us not waste any more time and start directly, right? So guys, first of all, before we start the video, make sure that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel so that you never miss out on any important opportunity of getting plays, right? So that is very important. And then apart from that, guys, make sure that you have joined all our social media handles, that is Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp, because we keep on sharing a lot of drive related updates and a lot of other information related to placements on our social media handles, right? So if you're a part of our social media handles, you would be the one to get update about any placements happening in the country or any other related information related to placements, right? So the link to join the Telegram, Instagram, WhatsApp is available in the description of the video, so make sure you go and join them, right? Talking about the syllabus of LTI, guys, the most important section in the LTI is the aptitude part, right? Aptitude, then the logical and the verbal, right? And apart from that, are they gonna ask coding or not, right? Are they gonna ask CMCQ or not? So all those things will be coming up with another video in some time related to the LTI syllabus, which will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So if you have subscribed to it, you will get a notification, and we'll also share the link for that particular video in the description of the video once it is live. Yes. Okay. So let us start with the question, and then we'll have a lot of discussions in between the video itself, right? So a contractor undergoes to do a piece of work in 40 days. He engages 100 men at the beginning and then 100 more after 35 days and complete the work in the stipulated time. If he had not engaged the additional man, how many days behind schedule would it be finished? Right? So I'm giving you here 30 seconds. Try solving it out and definitely I'll explain it to you, right? So your time for 30 seconds starts now. Okay. So the question says a contractor undergoes to do a piece of work in 40 days, right? The total days expected was 40 days. He engages 100 men at the beginning and then 100 more after 35 days. So first 35 days, how many men were there? 100 men. And then for the rest 5 days, because he's supposed to complete the work in 40 days and he also did it in the stipulated time. So for the next 5 days, how many men were there? 100 plus he added 100 more, right? 100 more men. He engages 100 more men, right, after 35 days. So 35 men worked for 100 days and 5 men worked for, 100 men, 200 men worked for 5 days to get the work done, right? Now the question here is you have to find the number of days extra needed if these 5 men were not added, right? You can either go with unitary method, assume number of amount of work done by each worker in a day, and so on and so forth, right? And that will at least take you 2 minutes to solve. The most important way to, the most interesting way to solve this particular problem is M1 D1 by W1. So this is the concept here. Now, in the first case, what happened? 100 men worked for 35 days and then 5 men worked for 200 men worked for 5 days. So what is M1 D1? I can write it as 35 days into 100 men. First M1 D1 plus 5 days into 200 men upon W1 is equal to, what is M2 D2, guys? M2 is 100, because in the second scenario, we are supposed to find that if we had not engaged the additional men, so that means only 100 people were working. So how many days would it need to complete, right? So let us write it as D2 itself upon W2. What would be W1 and W2, guys? Because in the first case and the second case, the amount of work is same, right? So I can just neglect it. So that means now 100 and 100 gone, 2. So that means D2 would be nothing but 35 plus 5 2s are 10, that is 45. So that means if in the second case no extra 100 men were added, it will take 45 days to complete the same work done by 100 men for 35 days and 200 men for 5 days. So how many extra days were needed? 40 was the stipulated time. It took 45, so 5 extra days. Another way to think about this particular problem is without a pen and a paper, right? 35 days, 100 men worked. And for the next 5 days, how many men worked? 100 plus 100. Yes. What if I say this 100 men was not added? So that means another 5 days will be taken for those 100 men to complete the work, the remaining work. So that means extra 100 men, 5 more days. Yes. So I hope you liked it, guys. And if you still have any doubt on this particular question, you can definitely reach out to us in the comment section. The best part is the top 3 comments on this particular video will get the online class of their choice for free, right? We are also coming up with the Prime Video course or the online course for the LTI as well. We have not launched it as of yet, but we will be launching it soon, right? So the link to purchase that would also be available in the description of the video, wherein we take care of all our theory questions and all the shortcuts, tips and tricks related to all the topics that are supposed to asked in LTI, right? Okay, here's question number 2 on your screen. It says, if a perimeter of a rectangle is P and its diagonal is D, then the difference between the length and the width of the rectangle is. So I'm again giving you guys 30 seconds here and your timer starts now. Okay, so we have a rectangle, length L and breadth B, and some diagonal D. So what is perimeter? P would be 2 into L plus B. That is what the perimeter of a rectangle is. What would be diagonal, guys? It's given, right? Diagonal D. So diagonal is nothing but, so this is a right angle triangle, right? So diagonal is nothing but under root of B square plus L square. What are we supposed to find, guys? We are supposed to find the difference between the length and the width of the rectangle. So that is L minus B is what we are supposed to find. Okay. What if I square this from both the sides? So I can write it as D square is equal to B square plus L square. Yep. Now, what is L plus B whole square, guys? L square plus B square plus 2LB. Yes. What is this from this particular equation? If I substitute, I can write L square plus B square as D square. Yes. And from this, I can write L plus B is equal to P by 2. So just substitute L plus B as P by 2 here. So that would be P square by 4 is equal to D square plus 2LB. Or I can write it as minus 2LB is equal to D square minus P square by 4. Yes. Okay. Now, what is L minus B whole square, guys? L square plus B square minus 2LB. What is minus 2LB, guys? minus 12b is nothing but d square minus p square by 4. Again, b square plus l square is d square. Right? This l square plus b square, I've written it as d square. So that becomes 2d square minus p square by 4, which is nothing but 8d square minus p square by 4. So L minus b whole square is this. So what would be L minus b, which is what we are supposed to find? That would be nothing but under root of 8d square minus p square divided by 2. That is your answer. So this sort of questions are asked in LTI, and we will definitely take care of all such questions in our online classes as well, right? Or our prime video. So we have started calling our prime videos as online classes from now. Moving on to the next problem. Okay, a number when divided by 296 leaves 75 as remainder. When the same number is divided by 37, the remainder will be. So again, I'm giving you guys 30 seconds and your timer starts now. All right. So let us say the number is n. Yes. So if we are dividing that particular number by 296, we are getting some quotient, and finally we are getting a remainder of 75. So can I write n as 296q plus 75? That's what we do, right? For example, if you are dividing 25 by 4, so 6 times 24, 1 is remainder. So how do you write 25? 25 is nothing but 6 into 4 plus 1. That's how I've written n over here, right? So n is equal to. Now the point here is you are supposed to find the remainder when the same number is divided by 37. So what is 296? 296 is nothing but 37 into 8. And what is 75? It's nothing but 37 into 2 plus 1. So if I take 37 as common, I can write it as 8q plus 2, right? Plus 1. Yes. So what do you mean when you can write a number in this terms? 37 into this. So basically when you're dividing this number by 37, the quotient you will get is 8q plus 2, right? Let me write it here. When you divide it by 37, the quotient you will get would be 8q plus 2, and the remainder you will get is basically 1. So your answer is. So you will find such questions asked repeatedly in LTI and in other exams as well, right? So I hope you got an idea on how do you solve such questions in the exam, right? A very easy way to solve, just try to factorize it, try to factorize it in terms of the other number that you're supposed to divide it with, and the rest is your remainder, right? Okay, so I hope that was clear to you. If not, you can definitely reach out to us in the comment section and we'll definitely help you out. Let us move on to the next question. Okay, here's another question on your screen. A question I would say from both profit and loss and mixtures and allegations combined, right? I'm again giving you guys 30 seconds here. Try solving it out and then I'll definitely explain. Okay, so guys, the thing here is a dairyman pays rupees 6.40 for per liter of milk. He adds water and sells the mixture for 8 per liter. So what is the SP of mixture? 8 per liter. What is the profit that is making? 37.5 percentage. So what would be the cost price of the mixture? Cost price of the mixture, which is basically after adding water to the milk, the cost price that he's actually having for the mixture. So to find cost price, it's nothing but 100 upon 100 plus 37.5 into the selling price, that is 8. From here, so I can write it as 100 upon 137.5 into 8. On solving, I'll get it as 5.82. So this is the cost price of the mixture of water and milk, right? All right. So now talking about the mixture and alligation part here. So how do we actually solve such problems, right? The rule of alligation. What are we mixing? The cheaper quantity is water. The dearer quantity is milk, right? Okay. What is the cost price of water, guys? 0. What is the cost price of the pure milk? 6.40. And what is the cost price of the final mixture? 5.82, right? So this is called D, this is called M, right? C. This is the cheaper quantity, this is the dearer quantity, and this is the mean price. So now let us find what is D minus M. So D minus M is nothing but 6.40 minus 8.2, 5.82. Which would be nothing but 0.58. And what is M minus C? It's 5.82. Now, the formula is D minus M upon M minus C is the quantity of cheaper upon quantity of dearer. Which is quantity of cheaper, guys? Quantity of cheaper means quantity of water upon quantity of milk. So that would be nothing but what is D minus M? 0.58 upon M minus C is 5.82 is equal to water upon milk quantity, right? So that is nothing but 1 by 10. This is 1 by 10, right? So the proportion of water to milk received by the customer is nothing but 1 by 10, right? So basically that means if he's selling 11 liters of milk, he's giving 10 liters of milk and 1 liter of water as well. Yes? Okay, moving on to another question, a question from geometry and elevation. Not a very tough question if you're good with trigonometry, right? So I'm giving you guys another 30 seconds over here to solve this out, and then I'll definitely explain. So let us say the aeroplane is somewhere here. It's flying, right? And let us say this is the ground. This is the ground. This is the aeroplane. The angle of elevation of an aeroplane flying vertically above the ground from two consecutive milestones, right? Let us say this is one milestone and this is the other milestone. Let us name them B and C. Let us draw one perpendicular to the ground and let us call it D. Now, the elevation made by the two consecutive points, those are 1 kilometer apart. So the distance between this is 1 kilometer, right? The angle made, the elevation made is 45 degree and 60 degrees, right? So if I draw a line like this, and this. So basically this angle is 45 degrees and this one is 60 degrees, and this is definitely 90 because we drew a perpendicular. Yes. So this is the height of the plane from the ground. The perpendicular distance is called the height, right? That is what we are supposed to find. Let us call it x. X kilometer. This is h kilometers. This is x kilometer. What are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find h, right? Now, guys, talking about this, think about the bigger right angle triangle, right? This one. So what would be tan 45? That is P by B, the perpendicular by the base, right? What is the perpendicular? The perpendicular is h. What is base? 1 plus x. Because we're talking about the bigger triangle over here, right? So that is h upon x plus 1. And what is tan 45? It's 1. So from here I got that x is nothing but h minus 1. Alright. Now let's see the smaller triangle. Here tan 60 degrees would be h upon x. What is tan 60? Tan 60 is nothing but under root 3. So that means x is nothing but h by root 3. Equation number 2. Let's compare 1 and 2. So that will give us h minus 1 is equal to h by root 3. From here I can find h as root 3 upon root 3 minus 1 kilometers. That's your answer. Got it, guys? A quick revision on trigonometry and angles and elevation as well. Okay, a question from logarithms. Okay, so guys, in this question you can see that there is no base to the logarithm. So what do you mean by that? Whenever no base is given, when no base is given, the base is always 10, right? Okay, so I'm again giving you 30 seconds and your timer starts now. Okay, so it's given. Okay, guys, just a second. Okay, it's given that 2 log 5 plus log 8 minus 1 by 2 log 4, right? We have to find the value of this. Okay. Now, a quick revision, right? Let me give you 2-3 important formulas. So the first important formula is a log b to the base c can be written as log of b to the base c b raised to the power a, right? Whenever the value is raised to some power, that can go before it, right? So this can be written as a, I'll take it here, so a log b. Let's take the base 10 itself, right? Not to confuse you. This is one formula. Another formula for logarithms is log a plus log b is nothing but log of a into b. Formula number 2, this is 1. Formula number 3 is the same as 2, that is log a minus log b is nothing but log of a by b. Yes. So now, using formula number 1, can I write it as log of 5 whole square? Because this can be shifted to a power of 5 plus log of 8 minus log of 4 to the power 1 by 2. I've used formula number 1 over here. Yes? Okay. Now, let us use formula number 2 on the first part of it. So I can write it as log of, this is log of a plus log of b. So I can write it as log of a into b, right? So log of 5 square into 8 minus log of, what is under 4 to the power 1 by 2, that is log 2. Now, on this, let us apply the formula number 3. That will be log of 5 square into 8 by 2. So 2 times 4. What is 5 square? 25. 25 into 4 is 100. So it is log 100, right? So as I said, if no base is given, the base is always 10. So can I write it now as log of 10 to the 10 square? This power will shift here. So I can write it as 2 log 10 to the base 10. Now, another standard formula is log of something to the base same something is always 1. So that means log of 10 to the base 10 is also 1. So that means your answer is 2. So we have quickly seen 4 formulas of logarithms over here, right, in this one single question. So logarithm is very interesting, guys. I've taken good care of this in the online classes and the prime videos. A very important topic, and if you know the formulas and if you know how to implement the formulas, this is one of the easiest topic to solve, and you're never gonna stuck in this, right? And it will hardly take you 15-20 seconds to solve each and every problem, right? Moving on to the next problem. Okay, another problem from mixtures and alligation. Gold is 19 times as heavy as water and copper is 9 times as heavy as water. The ratio in which two metals should be mixed so that the mixture is 15 times as heavy as water. So we have already solved a problem, right? Before this, the problem wherein we had the cost price and the selling price, and then I used the rule for alligations. The same rule is applicable over here, right? So you can just use that concept, try to solve it out and find the answer, right? I'm again giving you 30 seconds and your timer starts now. Okay. So now it says gold is 19 times as heavy as water and copper is 9 times as heavy as water. So which is the dearer quantity? This is dearer, this is cheaper. So using the rule of alligation, what is cheaper? Cheaper I can write it as 9. Dearer I can write it as 19. And when they are mixed together, we have to find an alloy which is 15 times as heavy as water, right? So the mean should be 15. So what is D minus M? D minus M is 4. What is M minus C? M minus C is 6. So D minus M upon M minus C is quantity of cheaper upon quantity of dearer. So that is 4 by 6 is equal to quantity of cheaper upon quantity of dearer, which is basically 2:3. So you will mark option number A as the correct answer. A lot of people do this. This is wrong. Why? You were talked about gold and then copper, and then were asked that in what ratio this metal should be mixed. So that means gold is to copper should be mixed so that you get an alloy 15 times as heavy, right? Here you got the ratio as cheaper is to dearer. That means this ratio is for copper is to gold. You are supposed to answer gold is to copper. So the ratio is basically 3:2. Option number B is the correct answer. And they have very smartly given you option number A as well here, which 80% of you would mark. So it's very important to read the question very carefully while attempting, because they will always try to trick you. Okay. Another question from time and work. Sorry, and so let me read out the question first. A certain number of workers can do a piece of work in 25 days. In what time will another set of equal number of men do a piece of work twice as great supposing that 2 men of the first set can do as much work as 3 men in the second set can do in an hour, right? So guys, I hope you got to know the M1 D1 W1 formula already, right? So try using that over here and try to find out the answer. I'm giving you again 30 seconds and your timer starts now. Okay. So as I said, I've already given a hint that the formula that you're supposed to use over here is this, which says M1 D1 upon W1 is equal to M2 D2 upon W. So in the first case, total number of days taken were 25. Yes. And the number of men was, let's say, M1. Yes. Now, in the second scenario, the days is what you're supposed to find, right? In what time will another set? So D1 is what you, D2 is what you're supposed to find. How many men are still working? Same number of men, but their efficiency is different. And how about the work, guys? In the second case, they are doing twice as, the work is twice as great. So if I say W1 is 1, W2 would be 2, because in the second case the work is twice as great. So let me write it. M1 D1 by W1 is equal to M2 D2 by W2. Let M1 be M1 into 25 upon 1. Let M2 be M2 into D2 is what we are supposed to find upon 2. Now, this particular statement, right? 2 men of the first set can do as much work as 3 men in the second set. So can I say efficiency of M1 is nothing but 3 by 2 times of M2? Yes or no? Because a man from the first set, 2 men from the first set can actually do the same work done by 3 men in the second set. So that means M1 is definitely more efficient. M1 is nothing but 3 2 by. So now substitute M1 as 3 by 2 M2. M2 and M2 gone. So this would be 25 into 3 by 2 is equal to D2 by 2. Yes. So 2 and 2 gone. So what is D2? D2 is nothing but 75 days. There is another way, a quick way to explain this. Let me show you. So here, let's say X men were working, they took 25 days to complete, right? Now, cause the efficiency is, how much is the efficiency for the men in the second set? They are 2/3 as efficient, right? So they'll take some more time, they'll take this much more time, 2/3 of 25 more time to complete the work. So that would be nothing but 37.5. So the second set, they will take 37.5 days to complete the work, cause they have to complete twice the work. So that means 2 into 37.5 would be your answer. Moving on to the next problem. It says solve for x the equation 4 raised to the power. So the equation is actually this. 4 raised to the power x minus 2 is equal to 3 raised to the power x plus 4. You have to solve this equation and find x. I'm again giving you guys 30 seconds and your timer starts now. Okay. So the equation given to you is 4 raised to the power x minus 2. So what I'm doing here is, guys, as you do like squaring on both the sides, or a cube rooting on both the sides, or taking under root on both the sides, I can also take log on both the sides. So I can write it as log of 4 to the power x minus 2 is equal to log of 3 to the power x plus 4. As we have seen in the previous question, the formula number 1, this power can shift here. So I can write it as x minus 2 log of 4 is equal to x plus 4 log of 3. Now let us open it out. So I can write it as x log 4 minus 2 log 4 is equal to x log 3 plus 4 log 3. Now what I'm doing is I'm shifting all the x related terms on the left hand side and all the constant on the right hand side. So what I can write is x log 4, shifting this here, minus x log 3 is equal to 4 log of 3 plus 2 log of 4, which can be written, if I take x as common from here, so I can write it as log of 4 minus log of 3 is equal to, guys, can I now write it as log of 3 to the power 4, and this I can write it as log of 4 square, yes, which gives me x is equal to log of, so now again using formula number 2, which we already explained in this video, I can write it as log of 3 to the power 4 into 4 whole square upon log of 4 by 3. Yes, this can be further written as, so 4 square, can I write it as 2 to the power 4? So log of 3 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 4 upon log of 4 by 3. So I can take 4 as common here and shift it before the log. So I can write it as 4 log of 3 into 2, 6 upon log of 4 by 3. That is your answer. Cool. So guys, if you still have any doubts, you can definitely reach out to us in the comment section and we will definitely help you out. Apart from that, the best 3 comments on this particular video will get the online class of their choice for free. So guys, I'm not sure. So we have not launched the LTI Prime video course as of yet, but while I'm not sure, while you're watching the video, we might have launched it, and you can find the link to join the LTI Prime video course in the description of the video. And yes, definitely there would be a special coupon code for the viewers of this video also in the description of the video, right? So make sure you go and check it out once. If it is launched, you will have the link in the description. Now, talking about the information related to the placements happening in the country, so you have to join our social media handles. If you are a part of our social media handles, you will get update to all the placement drives happening in the country, and you will be the first one to know about it, right? Because we are in partnership with a lot of companies and we get all the information in, before any other platform knows about it. So make sure that you are a part of all our social media handles to get update about anything happening in the country. So the link to join all our social media handles can be found in the description of the video. Apart from, guys, make sure that you have joined, subscribe to our YouTube channel and also clicked on to the bell icon so that you never miss out on any important opportunity or any important video that we make live, and you get to know about it as soon as we make it live, and you watch it and you prepare for your desired company or apply for your desired company, right? So guys, that's all we have from today's video. Make sure that you comment on the video so that you are in the competition of getting any Prime Video course of your choice for free, right? So the top 3 commenters on this video will get the Prime Video course of their choice for free. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you up ahead in the next video.